Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. Like a lot of you, I've been dying to get my hands on Super 7's brand new wave of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ultimates. Wave 3, to be exact. Finally, we could complete our Bebop and Rocksteady duo, and finally, we could get the pizza-loving party dude, Michelangelo, in our collection. Now we have 3 turtles. That's awesome. It felt like forever since I've been waiting to get this thing. You may be wondering, well, how long did it take? Well, this wave was put up for pre-order back in June through July of 2020. And people have been getting them since July, so July to August of 2021. So that's about 12 to 13 months that we've all been waiting for these guys. That's the longest an Ultimates wave has taken. Wave 1 took 10 months, and Wave 2 took 11 to 12 months. To put this whole thing into perspective, NECA fulfilled their April O'Neil movie action figures within 3 months after their pre-order was put up. So, Super 7, you got to get your crap together. I don't mind waiting as long as the product is great. So, let's quit wasting time here and let's take a look at Michelangelo. Man, when I was a kid, Michelangelo was my favorite Ninja Turtle. He's not necessarily my favorite now. I don't know who my favorite is. Maybe Raphael, because they actually use Raphael in most things. Michelangelo kind of had his heyday in the cartoon, and then, Mirage, they never really do anything with him, and I don't know. He's really cool in the movies, too, or the original movies. But yeah, even in IDW, I don't know. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But, all right, so you have this outer box that we can open up, right? Yes. And check that out. Inside there is another box. And one thing I love about this series is just like the colors, the whole like theme they have going on here, where the bad guys have purple, the heroes all have green. I mean, that's either green for turtles or green for mutagen, right? So here you can see Michelangelo's face from the old action figure, and also one of the faces that's included here. And on the side of the manhole, you can see Michelangelo's weapon, which is the nunchuck. The nunchakus, whatever you want to call them. So this bag is taped. Warning, keep this bag away from babies. That's what it says on the back here. Get this bag out of here. I don't care about the bag. All right, so on the back here, you got the Ninja Turtle logo. It says contents, one figure with accessories. Over there you see Super 7. Now let's take a look at Michelangelo. Oh my gosh. That's pretty awesome. I actually thought there was a spot on his nose, but that's just a glare from my light. I was going to be like, what the heck is that? There's an orange spot right in the middle there, but nope. It's just from the lights. I will say this, at first glance, they completely nailed this Michelangelo. Like, the colors of this, look just like the old Michelangelo toy. That looks awesome. I also really like the chains here, the real chains on the nunchucks. That's pretty cool. Man, this is like one of those series where I'm trying so hard not to be a mint on card collector. Like, I try to get out of it and sell all my mint on card stuff or open them up and just keep them loose. But this is one of those series that, like, if you were ever going to be a mint on card collector, you would want to be a mint on card Ultimates collector. On the back here it says Michelangelo, the wild and crazy turtle. He's a wild and crazy guy. Michelangelo is a party reptile. Even though the sinister Shredder may be slicing his way through the manhole cover, Mikey stays cool. Cool because he's the master of the whirling nunchucks. And the whirling pizzas. It takes 8 pounds of pressure per square inch to break bone. That's an interesting fact. The nunchucks generate 90. No wonder nunchucks were not allowed in Europe back in the 80s. In the midst of the most perilous of battles, Mikey can be seen swinging his deadly nunchucks in one hand while dangling a wedge of pizza in the other. Perfect. Holy crap. I didn't notice it when I was looking at this to begin with, but as soon as I pulled this out of the box, I noticed I'm missing one of the fist daggers. What's up with that? I'm calling my lawyer. Here's the brand new Super 7 Ultimates Michelangelo next to the original soft and hard head Michelangelos from 1988. The expression on this guy and the paint match the originals perfectly. Like, that looks great. Pulling this guy out and posing him made me smile the same smile I smiled 33 years ago. Michelangelo was my favorite back then, and this is just awesome. Michelangelo was the turtle that I wanted to be when I ran around my neighborhood shouting cowabunga. I wanted to eat pizza all the time and be just like him. I took the original hardhead Michelangelo with me like everywhere I went. He was my favorite. So getting this brand new Michelangelo really brightened my day. Michelangelo was great in the cartoon and the 1990 movie, but after that, he can be like a little bit of a mixed bag. His party dude persona could be a little too much in the 2003 show, and in the 2012 show, I think he's more like goofy or quirky than just a party dude. I still like him, but it's just a little different. In the original Mirage comics, up to like Volume 4, Michelangelo, he's not much of a party dude. In fact, like most comics have Mikey become like kind of sensitive and a reluctant fighter. I don't like that angle with Michelangelo. I think it was okay Mirage when he started to like become like a comic book writer, or I can't remember what exactly he was doing. He was writing something. But, after a while, he's just like a little bit of a downer. And in IDW is sort of the same way. He's almost like Mega Man X. Like he doesn't want to fight because, he doesn't like violence. Wah, wah, wah. I like to think that Michelangelo is like the Spider-Man of the group. Jumping around and having fun as he smacks around the villains, using combat cold cuts to hit his foes, not because he's too afraid to use real weapons, but because it's funny, and it will annoy them. That's why I'm glad The Last Ronin is Michelangelo. Leo and Raph get all the good stories. It's nice to see the party dude shine in the spotlight for a change. In a little bit, I'm going to compare this new Michelangelo to the original, but first, I wanted to take a look at him next to his brothers. So, to begin with, the original Ninja Turtles came out in 1988, and they all had the same exact torso. Everything else was different. They all had different heads with different expressions. Their arms are different, and their legs are different. I believe when they sculpted these toys, they sculpted them in battle stances, and then they kind of cut them up to add the articulation. They probably just reused the same torso, for cost measures or something like that. But, every single one of them has different, like, veins on their arms, and their legs are sculpted in different positions, which, some are better than others. I think Raphael's the best, and Leo and Donatello are the worst because they fall over all the time. Sometimes the turtle shells come in different colors, but mostly they're pretty similar. I mean, a lot of them, like the hardhead figures, all have kind of like a mustard yellow color, but sometimes you'll get some Ninja Turtle toys like the soft head figures, and the yellow looks more like a creamy deviled egg yellow, which is also, because of mustard, but there's some other stuff in there like mayo. It makes it a little lighter. Sometimes the backs of the shells will be different colors. Like if you look at Leonardo here, his shell is very dark. He's going to fall over because he cannot stand. But sometimes you'll have like the soft head figures and they have more of a lighter kind of dark shell. But in general, the color of the back shells is pretty consistent from turtle to turtle with the hard head figures. Fast forward 33 years. Oh my gosh. And now we have the Ultimates figures. Now we only have 3 of them. We're still waiting for Donnie. So, we're just going to talk about these guys. Now, when I got Michelangelo here, I really wanted to see how these guys all gel together, because there's such a long wait. There's like a 6-month waiting period between each Ninja Turtle. Raph came out, I think, in August, and then Leo was around December, January, so that's like 4 or 5 months, and now you have Mikey in July. So, I mean, or July, August. So that's a big gap, right? So you want to make sure that these guys all look pretty similar to each other. All of these guys have the same exact body, and Michelangelo's body looks very similar to Leo and Raph's. The plastic sort of has kind of like I don't know if you'd say it's like a matte finish or something like that. Like the way that the highlights hit the body, it's very soft. It's not very sharp or anything like that. I'm just talking about the body at the moment. If you look at the shells here, you got a really cool shading effect where it's kind of lighter around the edges and they kind of just have bursts of dark yellow in the center. All these guys have that. It's kind of like a shading or something like that. Even on his the the muscles of the legs and the arms, you kind of have like highlights. You have like a lighter color green, and then in the, I don't know if it's like done with a wash or what, but you just kind of have like a darker kind of shading within the muscles. It makes everything kind of pop and stand out. Like they all look fantastic. One thing I really wanted to see here was how they would do Mikey's back shell, because Raph came out and he had a very brown shell. It goes well with his color, but it's very brown. It's kind of different than the Ninja Turtles of old. And then Leo came out and he had his dark shell. Come on, stand up. All right. So Leo came out and he had a very dark shell. And I thought maybe they were going to try to make all of the turtles from now on have more like this sort of like it's almost like a black, but it's probably like a very dark green. I thought maybe they were trying to go with the hardhead figures, like make every turtle since then have that same kind of color. But I'm glad to say that they did not. This is a dark color, but it actually looks like a dark shade of this green, like for his skin. Oh my gosh. Now, it is kind of hard to see it, but trust me, this is like a very dark green. This is just like a very, very dark olive green, like Leo's skin. Like maybe they just kind of up these shades and whatever paint program they're using to make these like match the bodies. So I'm glad that they kept everything consistent. I'm glad that they all didn't have this same color except for Raph. I'm glad each Ninja Turtle will have their own unique shell color. I think that's a nice way to upgrade the paint of these guys, because it was always cool that they had different colors, and now it's cool that they all have their own back shell colors. So let's get into some differences here. Like if you look at Leo's belt, you can see like where these buttons are. You have these silver highlights. Even on Raph's belt, it kind of looks like these rings are silver. So you have some differences there. But Mikey does not have any kind of silver highlights on any of the rings. I think I heard this when I was watching a Toy Bro video, where he said that this was a mistake that they painted the belt like this with these silver highlights on Leonardo. I actually thought that was pretty cool, and I would have been kind of happy if they would have kept that kind of going with Michelangelo. Raph didn't have that, but it's just kind of cool. It makes it stand out a little more. I also do kind of think that maybe they could have given them different torsos, which is the opposite of the originals. Kept all the limbs the same because they look really good. The muscles look great, and then they kind of match the old figures. But maybe they should have given them all different shells, because when every turtle has the same exact scrapes on the fronts and the backs of the shells, it kind of kills it a little bit. And that you really do notice the similarities between all of them. Obviously, like I said, you can have the bodies all the same because they don't have the scrapes and they don't have all the marks and stuff like that. But when you're looking at the fronts and you're like, okay, well, I know he's got there, that is too monotonous. If anything, they should have not had any scrapes at all on the torsos, and that would have probably been a little better. I do also want to mention that Leonardo and Raphael, it looks like their nails are painted like a lighter color to try to make them stand out. But for some reason, Michelangelo has no paint or any kind of highlight on his fingernails or his toenails. Because Michelangelo doesn't have those extra highlights, he kind of loses that little bit of extra life that the other Ninja Turtles have. They kind of seem to have gone above and beyond with them, and this Michelangelo is great, but, could have been a little better if he just had those little tiny, details. So here's where I think Super 7 loses the most points with this Michelangelo figure. If you look at Leonardo and Raphael's face, you'll notice that the plastic has the same kind of quality that the rest of their bodies has. It sort of has that matte finish or whatever you want to call it, where the plastic is kind of soft. So I have 4 lights pointing at these guys, and the highlights are very soft on their faces. It's not too harsh or anything like that. But then if you look at Michelangelo, it looks like his face has been polished a lot more than theirs or something like that. It's he's got a semi-gloss or a gloss finish. Whatever he's got going on with his face, it's just... It's almost like a marble or something like that, because you can make out all the lights. They're pretty harsh. If you look at Michelangelo's nose there, You'll see like there's a little tiny orange dot. The reflection of the light, my ceiling light, right? If you look at the other Ninja Turtles, you can't even see that dot there. It's lost. But because this is so glossy, it's reflecting everything. This is also a problem with the extra head. I think that is also like too glossy compared to the other Ninja Turtles. And I think Raph sort of has a little bit of a like a gradient or a shading on his face, much like the rest of their bodies. And it's kind of a bummer because the rest of Michelangelo's body doesn't have that problem. The rest of his body matches the other Ninja Turtles perfectly. So, in my opinion, the extra glossiness of Michelangelo's face just kind of makes him look more like a toy compared to the other Ninja Turtles. I also think that the straps on Mikey's belt seem to be just like a little thinner compared to the other Ninja Turtles. I mean, and like that's one of those things where like you look at it and it looks fine, but if you're like messing with it, you just kind of notice that. All right, so now here's the in-depth comparison of the original Michelangelo from 1988 and this brand new Michelangelo from 2021. And to be honest with you, I don't really have that much to say. I mean, I've done this 2 other times before with Raphael and Leonardo. It's the same body. The old Ninja Turtle toys, even though they have different body parts, they match them all fairly well with those toys. So, like, here's just some things I can point out here. Like, you got the veins on the biceps. They have those on the new ones. A lot of, like, even, like, the muscles of the upper arms look pretty similar from old to new. The newest thing is like the muscles on the forearms. I mean, that's there's a lot more detail there. Like you really see those muscles and they look awesome. You still have the vein going across. On the original ones, they just kind of have like tube forearms. There's no real definition. They're just kind of like tubes. The general shape of the shell is very similar. It looks good. The color is very good. And like his color in general just matches this original Michelangelo really, really well. Like the green on this Michelangelo looks great. If you look at the legs, you'll see like the muscles in the leg here, really match the original one really well. Even the muscles in the calves and the shins down here, it's all very, very similar. Like when you look at it, I mean, it really does look just like a one-up of that original toy from the 80s, just some nice new extra detail. Like I love all the wrinkles in the legs by the shell, and even up here on his neck, that looks all cool. It's all just like a turtle. So the biggest things that we can really look at here, there's 2 of them, and that's the belt and the head. So first let's take a look at the belt. The shape of the belt is very similar. It looks good. The straps go off in the same direction that the original one did. I like how you have these extra like little details here, like these clips, or I don't know what this is exactly, but that looks cool there. That wasn't on the original one, which is fine. New detail is always welcome and looks cool. I love how on the original ones you kind of had these like holes, but they weren't real holes. They just kind of look like they're holes. But on the brand new Ninja Turtles, they actually do have these holes. That's cool. So here's the back, and this is like all the Ninja Turtles, like Leo, like his scabbards or whatever. They all had a lot of new extra awesome detail. Raphael, that little like pouch on his back where you could put like one of the fist daggers. That looked really awesome, the new updated version of that. So let's take a look at Michelangelo and see the new area where he can put his nunchucks. In general, it looks pretty cool, There's no real detail in between these holsters. But on this new one, you definitely have them. Like you kind of have like buckles like here, and you have a buckle there. And even here, this is like a different type of a texture or material, this one in the middle. So that looks cool. I like it looks like these should be holes. Like maybe you could puncture them with a pin or something like that to actually make them holes. But in general, it's fine. It looks good. It's a nice upgrade of the original belt. All right, now let's take a look at Michelangelo's head, and this actually looks really cool too. It looks very close to that original. Like style-wise, it is very, very close. The only thing I would say is his eyes are really sharp and pointy. They're almost like triangles, where here they're kind of a little bigger. I was trying to see if maybe it was like different on different versions of Michelangelo, but here's the soft head version, and they are nowhere near as like triangular as this one. Like this kind of almost looks mechanical in a way, because the lines are so perfect. Let's see, I had another hard head Michelangelo somewhere areas. Yeah, I mean, I guess this one is a little closer to that, but it's still like, I don't know. It's still different. It's still a little more round. But in general, it looks very good. It is very similar. He's got the same number of teeth, so that's cool. Unfortunately, my Michelangelo head actually does have some orange splotches on the side here, and there's another one here. There's a little dot. Now I'm going to see if I can possibly get an extra head. When I got my Thundercats Lino, I had like a scuff on his face when it hit his like angry yelling face. And Super7 was really excellent about sending me a new head. So I'm going to see if I could possibly get a different one here, and also ask for that fist dagger that I'm missing from the package. If you look at the bandana, you know, this looks really cool, because here it's just kind of like, you know, just pointed pieces coming off of the head. Here it actually looks like a fabric. It looks cool, and there's actually like a texture sculpted on here, so it looks good. Here's the brand new Ultimates head next to the original Michelangelo head from 1988. And, you know, I really like this design. I think it's really cool looking. You do get like a little bit of a seam around the bottom of the mouth. You know, these must be separate pieces that they glued together. But when you're looking at him like dead on and from above, you really don't notice that too much. So that's cool. I've been displaying Raphael and Leonardo with these brand new Super 7 heads just because I think it's cool to, you know, give these Ultimates their own distinct look. You know, I think it's neat. And like, I do like the original, you know, big heads, the original 88 design heads. But I don't know. This is really cool. I like it. And you know, it really reminds me a lot of like some artwork from Michael Dooney. You know, that I think that really kind of matches that style. The articulation on the original 1988 Turtles is pretty limited. You only have a few points of articulation. You know, the heads, you can spin them all the way around. This is a soft head, so the head kind of has a little more resistance when you're trying to turn around. The shoulders rotate all the way around. You have cuts by the elbows, so you can spin the arms around. And then you just have ball joints in the hips. Now, I do want to mention this, and because I don't know if I've really made a point of talking about this with like the Leonardo figure. You know, the way that their hands are set up, it's like very difficult if you wanted to pose them where they're actually like hitting people or striking them. With Michelangelo, you can kind of swing him out this direction to make it look like he's hitting them, but you can't really like, I don't know, it's, you have to, you kind of have to do that. You gotta have to put it a little forward. You can't like make it look like he's kind of like swinging at them, because it just kind of stays with his shoulder, you know, whatever. The brand new Ultimates figure has a ton of articulation, which will, you know, now you can get this guy into a lot of really cool poses, and you can actually make it look like he's striking people with his nunchucks. But I'll talk about that in a second. First, I want to mention that he's got like a ball joint in his neck, so his head can go all the way around. He can look up, he can look down. There's some limitations there. Like that's about as high as you can look up, and that's about as low as you can look down. His shoulders can swivel all the way around. Plus, there's a hinge in there, so you can go up and down. You have a cut in the bicep here, so you can spin it all the way around there. You have single jointed elbows, which are, you know, these work well. They can swivel all the way around, although you might have a little bit of a hard time because of the pad there kind of gets in the way a little bit. And there's also a hinge, so you can, you know, bend it up and down. The wrists swivel all the way around, and you have hinges. This is a special kind of hinge. Or no, this isn't the one that's special. This is about usual. Most of the hands kind of hinge this direction. This is the special one where you can have it, you know, pointing down like this or pointing up in the air. You don't have any articulation up here in the upper torso, but down here, like the pelvis piece here is like a separate piece from the turtle shell. So you can actually spin that around, or you can kind of rotate it side to side. This is kind of stiff in there. So like some of them are like get really wobbly, but this Michelangelo is pretty stiff. He's kind of, you got ball joints here for the hips. You have a hinge there, so you can rotate the leg out about that far and down. And then that ball can also rotate forward and rotate back. But, you know, the shell stops a little bit. Then right here at the top of the thigh, you have a cut, so you can spin that around. You have single jointed knees, so you can bend it, or you can swivel it all the way around. And the ankle here, you have a hinge, and you have ankle rockers. Because this new Michelangelo has this awesome articulation, you know, you're not just stuck with the nunchuck like here in relation to the body. You can actually have them, you know, strike forward, and you can bend this hand so it really looks like you're smacking guys in the face with it. I like the kind of plastic that Super7 uses for these figures, but I don't know if it's because of the plastic or the just how the joints are set up, that sometimes like the joints get a little loose. This one isn't that bad, but sometimes if you have them on your table and you like try to push them a little forward, you know, sometimes you know, the joints move around a little too easy for me, but you know, it's still awesome. It's pretty awesome seeing these three together, isn't it? Man, I can't wait till we get Donatello and we have all four. Recently, I read a comment on one of Super7's posts where they expressed that they were unhappy that Super7 like kind of puts out random assortments like every wave. Like they thought that wave 1 should have been all 4 turtles, and then after that you should have had like different characters and whatever. But in my opinion, I like that. I like that Super7 has only been putting 1 turtle in per wave, you know, because lots of times with these Ninja Turtle series, you'll like just get the 4 turtles and that's it. You'll have nobody for them to fight. So as long as Super7, you know, is able to keep some kind of consistency with the Ninja Turtles per wave, you know, I'm happy with getting like giant monster or mutants for them to fight every wave. Otherwise, just posing the 4 turtles by themselves gets pretty boring after a while. I guess the only thing that I would kind of say is that, you know, maybe they could have waited like a wave or two before starting to add in the disguised Ninja Turtles. Like, I love that Samurai Leonardo's coming, but I also kind of wish that maybe we could have gotten like another character in wave 5 other than a Ninja Turtle. So, like I said, you know, this series so far is really awesome, and my only major complaint with Michelangelo is that super shiny head. If that would have been the same kind of plastic as the rest of his body, this Michelangelo would have been perfect. Is your Michelangelo like that too, or is it just mine? So let's talk about accessories, and first we're going to start with the weapons rack. Mikey says we can take as long as we want to because he's just going to stand in the back there and eat some pizza. Now, these are pretty cool because every weapon that comes with Mikey is present here on this weapons rack. They're just unpainted, and if you want to, you can pull them off and they'll look just like the original weapons from the 80s, you know. Like, here you go, sort of like that. For me personally, I would rather use the painted weapons just because I think they look a lot nicer. But what I do have that's interesting is I have an original weapons rack from the 80s. This isn't a reissue from Playmates, but they probably have them the same exact way. This is an original from the 80s or, you know, early 90s, whenever. But if you take a look here, you can see that they have lined all the weapons up exactly how they were on the original weapons rack. So that's pretty cool. Mikey's weapons rack is a lot darker than the original Leonardo and Raphael weapons racks. So here's my question to you. I know that Super7 released like a new version of Raphael, and I know that his weapons rack was kind of like a different shade. Was it dark? Did it match this weapons rack? Like, this weapons rack actually looks more close to the original toys than these ones do. These were a little too bright. Michelangelo has 2 sets of nunchucks. The first set is connected by a real chain. These are awesome because you can pose Michelangelo in so many different poses, and you don't ever have to worry about these breaking unless you like tug too hard on the chain. I think that this piece up here is plastic, and then that chain is just kind of wrapped around that. So I would be careful about that, but in general, you don't have to worry about these getting creased and snapping in half like these original ones from the 80s. You know, that always really bugged the crap out of me. Even like on my storage cell, Michelangelo, his nunchucks are cracked like that. That sucked. But like I said, these are really cool, and I'm glad that they included them because I think it's always awesome when they include real chains on Michelangelo's nunchucks, like the Fred Wolf series, and even those original Mirage Ninja Turtles from NECA. I think that was the first time I ever saw a real chain on a Michelangelo nunchuck. So these are pretty awesome. And I like how they're painted too. Like you have the gold on the edges, and the handle here looks kind of like it's wrapped or like wood, and even like the metal of like this plastic piece up here that connects to the chain, it just looks all good. You know, everything about this is pretty awesome. You can fit these nunchucks in Mikey's belt, but I would be careful because I feel like after a while these straps would kind of either stretch out or maybe possibly tear or something like that. So, you know, it looks cool, but I'll probably just end up putting like the nunchucks in his hands. The second set of nunchucks are completely solid, and these look really cool too. I think, you know, they were really trying to go for that original look of like having the wire connecting these, the two sides, just like the original ones do. So I would be a little careful with how you pose these because you don't know if you might accidentally crack the plastic or the vinyl or whatever. I think that what's really cool about these is you can mix and match them. Like I would have him hold like one of the nunchucks with the real chain on the one side and then have him use this nunchuck in the other. That way you can kind of make it look like he's like hitting somebody with it because it's actually stretched out. Like if you try to pose him with the real chain nunchucks, like attacking somebody, you're going to have to put like a wire or something through the chains to try to keep it straight. So, you know, instead of doing that, just use one of these solid nunchucks and there you go. You could fit these nunchucks in his belt too, but already like this is already like giving me nightmares. like it's bringing me back to when I was a kid and you were trying to put those nunchucks in the original belt, which was just insane. I think this is probably how most people crack their nunchucks, trying to fit them into these holes. You know, already I can see it like bending here and I'm just like, oh my God, it's going to crack and it's going to break. So if you want to compare the new nunchucks to the old nunchucks, you know, other than the wire now being a chain, the handle there actually looks pretty similar. Like it's kind of got the same thing going on. These connection pieces, you have like this extra flap or this extra lip here. Same thing with the top. So that's just like a little bit of added detail to try to flesh this thing out and make it look even more like realistic. You know, these new nunchucks look really awesome. Michelangelo comes with a grappling hook. Now, I don't consider this a weapon because, I mean, come on, it's not a weapon. It's a grappling hook. And when he uses it in the cartoon, lots of times, you know, he'll wrap people around. They'll grab a hold of it and just swing him around like a fool. So, you know, like I think it's cool to have a Ninja Turtle grappling hook, but, you know, I was not one of those kids that was like, oh, I'm glad they changed the grappling hook or the nunchucks, the grappling hook in the cartoon. This looks pretty cool. These, the hooks themselves don't actually fold in or anything like that. It's always like this. It's sculpted like this. So I would be careful with these. You don't want to break them. My biggest issue with this thing is the length of the string. It's like what? Like, this is as far as it goes. That's like what? 4 inches or something like that? Like, that is not long enough. Not to mention the string is very thin. It's like a piece of thread. So you're going to probably end up customizing this, which is kind of a bummer. Even here, when I try to make Michelangelo scale the wall, you know, I can't wrap this string around both of his hands, which is a bummer because, you know, if you're trying to go for that Batman look, he's got to be holding it with 2 hands. Here's a comparison with the NECA grappling hook. Now, this is a little bigger than the Super 7 one, and the hooks actually do fold into the sides of this grappling hook. I would just be very careful with this because they are very, very thin and, you know, you don't want to break these things. The string is actually a little thicker, which I think is better, and it's also longer by maybe 4 inches or 3 inches. See that? Kept on going. And the end of the string has like this little tiny piece of plastic here, which actually helps Michelangelo hold the end of it in his hand. Getting Mikey to hold the grappling hook is a little difficult because there's, you know, this thread is way too thin, you know. I kind of wish that they would have included like like really, really tight grip hands or something like that, you know, the only thing that I can really tell you to do is you take the thread and you just kind of wrap the grappling hook around it like that, or you know, you wrap it around his hands. But you know, this is not the best system, and plus it kind of leaves you with such a short line here that I don't know. Like I said, I think you're going to have to customize this and add like a longer rope. Just like Leonardo and Raphael, Michelangelo comes with a comma. You know, they all had these back in the original line, so they all have to have them now. I've said this before in my other reviews. I love this. I think this looks amazing. The original one to me, like, never looked like imposing or anything like that. Like, it never looked that much like a cool weapon. This actually looks like a cool weapon. You know, this actually looks like you'd rip apart foot soldiers or give Bebop and Rocksteady a gash they'll never forget. Michelangelo comes with fist daggers. This is the first one. This is like the smaller fist dagger. I was never a big fan of this one because it always seemed a little like impractical or something like that. Not a very cool weapon for him to use. This is the original from the 80s. Now, Mikey's brand new... Well, Mikey's fist dagger is actually different than all the other fist daggers released so far, because he has those little gold highlights on the edge. None of the other fist daggers have had that yet. Here's Michelangelo's other new fist dagger. As you can see, they really didn't paint it or anything. They kind of left it like a clear plastic. But I think it's pretty cool. You know, it's pretty pointy. Oh, wait. They didn't include my second fist dagger. So if you do want to see a quick comparison, this is a fist dagger from either Raphael or Leonardo. And as you can see, it's a pretty cool upgrade to that original one from the 80s. The brand new Michelangelo Ultimates also includes 2 ninja stars. Here's the original ninja star from the 80s. As you can see, the sides are all, you know, they're soft. You know, this isn't going to do any damage. But this brand new one, this like will cut my finger. You know, if I push that in there, I could definitely get some blood. And the paint, I think, is awesome too. I love that metallic paint they use on all these blades. Raphael and Leonardo both included a piece of pizza. Michelangelo does not have a single pizza. He has the box with the pizza glued in there. You know, you can't take that out of there. This is actually a pretty cool looking box. I like that you have sort of like the cheese melted on the top like it was crushed or something like that. The weirdest thing about this box is this piece of pepperoni right here, because it's not like 3D. It's just a red circle painted onto the box, which is kind of strange. You know, like, I understand what they're trying to do there, but I don't necessarily think that they succeeded with the illusion. It just says pizza on the side, and on the top it says pizza. You know, minor nitpick, they could have maybe came up with a clever pizza joint to put on there. You know, even if they would have used the one from the cartoon, Vinny's, or even Ninja Pizza, I mean, from the first episode, something. I think this Michelangelo is really awesome, and I like the accessories they included, but I also think that they could have included a few others. First, I think that they should have included another turtle comm. I thought it was pretty awesome that you got 2 turtle comms, one with Raphael and one with Leonardo, and they had different color schemes. I think it would have been cool if Michelangelo had a turtle communicator and it also had like some special color scheme for him. The next item I wish Michelangelo had was one of these cool twirling or spinning nunchucks. I've been spoiled a little bit here by both Super 7 and NECA. I do have the blue one from Panthro too, but you know, these were awesome. I wish that Michelangelo here had one of these cool nunchucks like this. But, you know, this, like I said, this is just a little thing. I think the nunchucks with the chains are pretty awesome. The brand new Michelangelo Ultimates figure includes 4 sets of hands, and these are all really good. You're definitely going to use them when you're posing him. First, you have a set of gripping hands with a vertical hinge, so you can kind of have them reaching forward like that. That's all cool. And then you have a set of gripping hands with a horizontal hinge, where you can, you know, make him kind of twist his hand in and out. That's all great too. Next up, he has a set of like grabber hands, or I like to think of them as like expressive hands, because you can have them, you know, it looks like he's either trying to get some pizza, or in the middle of battle, you could have him like swinging his nunchucks with the one hand, and you just have the other hand with this cool, like, you know, either pointing or grabbing kind of look. Whatever, I don't know what it is about these hands. I love them, and I think that they make like poses look really lifelike, and it kind of creates a sense of spontaneity to what you're doing. And finally, you have a set of fists, which is perfect if you want to have Michelangelo knock out Bebop and Rocksteady, or if you want Michelangelo to, show off his muscles, because this guy is jacked, and I would imagine that he's going to want to try to impress April with him. The final accessory I have to talk about is this brand new Super 7 head. I love this thing. I think it looks great. I think when you look at this, you're like, yeah, that's Michelangelo, all right. You can see it in his eyes, his crazy, happy-go-lucky face. This original 1988 design was cool, but, it doesn't necessarily look like Michelangelo. It looks like a Mirage Ninja Turtle. But this Michelangelo, you look at it, and you can tell that, he's not the serious one. He's the party animal. All the other Ninja Turtles, they're super serious about everything that they're into. Leo's serious about his training. Raph's serious about being angry. And Donatello, he's serious about science. But Michelangelo, the only thing he's serious about is eating some pizza. And, for me, that's a turtle I can relate to. I don't know anything about science or being a leader, but I know a lot about pizza. Here's how the brand new Mikey looks standing next to Bebop and Krang from the original Playmates series. Here's the brand new Michelangelo next to the sewer lair. He is way too big for this. He's not going to be able to go to sleep in that bed. Here's Michelangelo riding the Ninja Turtle Blimp. Now, he obviously is way too big for this, but, when is NECA or Super 7 going to make a turtle blimp? They ride the blimp in, so many episodes of the original series. It's ridiculous. It's like their second vehicle right after the party wagon. And, I would think that it'd be kind of easy for them to make a blimp. You'd have to make this central part here, this glider that comes apart from the blimp, and then the blimp would, just be like a giant vinyl balloon or something like that. I would imagine that it would be possibly cheaper than a party wagon, but what do I know? My two favorite franchises are the real Ghostbusters and the Ninja Turtles, so I wanted to see how these Ninja Turtles fit in with the real Ghostbusters Diamond Select toys. I think if you have the other humans, like Shredder and April, they don't really mix that well. But if you get rid of Shredder and you get rid of April and you kind of just have them as the humans next to these crazy mutants, I think I think that's a nice mix. I think that would look good on your shelf. They're probably a little too detailed compared to the Ultimates, but I mean that's probably the best mix you're gonna get with real Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles, unless maybe Hasbro puts out some kind of crossover series. Here's Michelangelo next to some of the NECA Fred Wolf series. He actually looks pretty decent next to some of these guys. You just kind of have to get past that black line that the Fred Wolf series has. But he looks good next to Shredder and Krang, and that Granitosaur. That's a really awesome design. Here's Michelangelo next to some of the NECA Mirage figures. I think April looks pretty good next to him, but that Shredder doesn't match because he's got way too much black on him. Here's the Ultimates Michelangelo next to the mutants from Secret of the Ooze. In my opinion, these guys were the best part of Secret of the Ooze. Here's Mikey riding the NECA Turtles in Time hoverboard. This Super 7 Michelangelo does not have any kind of hole in his feet for pegs or anything like that, but you can kind of set him up with that peg sticking out of the hoverboard. You just have to be careful because as soon as you start to move him a little too forward, he's a little heavy. And here's Michelangelo next to some other Super 7 Ultimates figures. Now, I don't necessarily think that the Ninja Turtle figures, they don't really match the regular Ultimates buck or whatever you want to call it, this body shape, because since these Ninja Turtles are so heavily influenced by those original toys, their proportions are not compatible with these guys. When you look at the new Casey Jones figure coming out in Wave 4, he does not have the regular human body that these guys have. Here's what Mikey looks like next to this very awesome NECA Batman vs. Aliens Batman. That's probably one of my favorite Batman figures in a long time. I think Michelangelo actually looks really cool next to him, but much like the real Ghostbusters action figures, they look good on their own, but if you started to introduce the humans from this Super 7 line, then they would not match up anymore. Here's the last comparison that I wanted to show. All of these Ninja Turtle toys were released between 1988 and 1990, the latest being Mutagen Man. And if you watch any of my Wave 3 videos, you will see the same exact dissolve. I just wanted to include this because I think it's pretty awesome. So these are all the toys that were released back when we were all wee ones. And here are the brand new Super 7 Ultimates figures. I think everybody's been drinking their brain and nerve tonic. All right, so now it's time to do the Michelangelo Ultimates comparison, all right? This is where I take a look at the brand new Ultimates Michelangelo and compare him to many Michelangelos that have come before him, you know. Over the past 33 years, there have been a lot of Michelangelos, so let's see how they all look next to this guy. Here is the original 1988 Michelangelo. This toy was directly, inspirational for this brand new Ultimates figure, and in all honesty, none of these Ninja Turtle toys would exist if these original toys from 1988 didn't come out. So there you go. There he is. Here is the wacky Michelangelo. Now, I don't think that the wacky the wacky Ninja Turtle figures get much love nowadays. I think that back when I was a kid, I thought they were pretty cool, but now they're not the best. I remember mine broke pretty quickly. They're just like a gimmick, and at the time I thought they were cool, but I don't know. They have been surpassed by way cooler Ninja Turtle variants. Now here is a Surfer Michelangelo. This was when they had the disguised turtles come out. We just saw in Wave 5 Samurai Leonardo. He's coming out, so I'm sure that this Surfer Michelangelo is going to be coming soon. My favorites from the disguise series was Samurai Leo, Space Cadet Raph, and probably Undercover Don. Surfer Mike was, I guess, my least favorite out of all four of them. I don't know why. But, it'll be cool to get him in an Ultimates form. Now, here is the storage shell Michelangelo. And let's see if I can get him to stand. Just barely. I love these storage shell figures. I love the faces. I think they're pretty awesome. I think that they fit in a lot nicer or a lot better with the later 1990 Ninja Turtle toys than the original 88 Ninja Turtles. So this is pretty cool. I hope in the future Super 7 eventually releases like an accessories pack with these storage shell heads. That'd be great. Don't make me buy the figure again. Maybe give me an orange belt and a new head. Here is the come on, there we go. The original movie star Michelangelo action figure. A lot of people love these. Playmates just reissued these guys. They didn't do too good of a job. If you want to learn more about it, you can watch my video. I made a whole video about it, about how they kind of dropped the ball. But I love these original. I think these were, what did they come out in 91? I love them, and I love how like they're bendy and stuff like that. Now here's Rapper Mike. Now, as funny as this is, like I love this as a kid. Like I loved all of the music Ninja Turtles. Like I remember I had three of them. I had Mike, I had Lee. No, I didn't have Leo. I had Raph and Don. And like I set them all up and would pretend that they were like playing concerts for other people. So this guy's pretty cool. And next we have, I think he's like Skater Mike or Skateboard Mike or something like that. I don't remember this guy's name, but he wasn't like from like a sub-series. He was like a regular Ninja Turtle with the basic figures. So there he is. And if you want to get him, if you want to make him even more cool, what you could do is you can put him on the Cheapskate too, and then he's riding a skateboard with his own face on the front of it. That's pretty funny. There are a ton of Playmates variants that, I just don't have time to go over all of them. So I'm going to move forward. And here is the Michelangelo from the 2003 series. These figures were awesome. Like, when these came out, to me, these seemed like such an incredible upgrade to those original Ninja Turtle toys from the 80s and the 90s. So as soon as I saw these, I had to run out and get all of them. I was in college at the time, scraping for money, but I made sure to buy them. Here is Michelangelo from the 2007 series. Now, these are kind of interesting because they don't really look like the Ninja Turtles from the cartoon. So, what's up with that? They're not like... These aren't my favorite figures either. I feel like they look a little cheap. And then after that, you have The Michael Bay Michelangelo, which is I think looks even you know, I think I could put up with the 2007 Ninja Turtle toys. These Michael Bay Ninja Turtle toys, they are not good. And now to wrap up Playmates, let's talk about the brand new Playmates Classics figures. Although they're not brand new because they're like 13 years old, but they're trying to resell them now. Now this is actually a knockoff, all right? I tried to buy this for this video because when I made my Leonardo video, people were like, "Oh, I wish you would have had the classics version. Like, I really wanted to see that comparison." So I tried to buy this on eBay, and of course, it was a knockoff. So that sucks. But I will tell you this: this is a real Donatello from way back when they came out. When did they even come out? 2012. So these are 10 years old. You see Donatello's eyes. You see how crooked they are. This knockoff eyes actually looks a lot nicer than most of those original Ninja Turtle toys. Now, I looked at this knockoff, and this knockoff is actually pretty close in size. Like, he is very, very similar. The only thing that's missing is some points of articulation. Like, the hands are completely frozen. The thighs are frozen. You know, you have all that there. And, like, there's no toe articulation. So you're kind of getting a pretty good idea of what the actual classics Michelangelo looks like. You know, he's pretty wonky. So there you go. You know, he is not the greatest thing in the world. I'm not a, you know, when these classics figures came out, they were okay, but they have, I don't think that they have aged well. And it's just a shame that Playmates is continuing to try to push these things with new 2-packs. Bebop and Rocksteady, I think, were cool, but they were very stylized and they were smaller than these Ninja Turtle toys. Yeah, and Shredder looks way too small compared to the Ninja Turtles in that line. And I haven't even seen the Triceraton, but it looks like his torso was like way too small or something. So there you go. There's a comparison with the classics figures. And now we're going to move on to NECA. And NECA, you know, I think NECA helped revitalize the Ninja Turtle toys because everybody wants these brand new NECA toys. Here is Michelangelo from the San Diego Comic-Con set. He's just the plain Fred Wolf Michelangelo. He looks awesome. These guys look great together. Like I said, I wish that this new Michelangelo would have had one of these cool, like, nunchuck wheels or whatever. So they look pretty awesome together. Here's Michelangelo from the movie. And this is just like one of those amazing NECA toys. You know, this movie Michelangelo. This is the head that came in the accessories pack. I don't have the original head on him. And this spinning nunchuck was also from the accessories pack. But there you go. It's pretty cool looking. And we might as well take a look at NECA's first outing with the Ninja Turtles. The series that was like such an awesome tease because it died way too soon. Until the Fred Wolf series kind of got off. I guess you had the arcades figures too, but all right. So this is the NECA Mirage Michelangelo, and he looks pretty awesome. He even has the grin like Michelangelo, although he looks a little more devious than your usual Michelangelo. And the nunchucks look really awesome with this guy too. Man, every 6 months, my toy shelf becomes cooler and cooler, but my shelf space gets smaller and smaller. Like, these guys are huge, but they look amazing, and I'm so glad that I've been picking up every single one of these waves. I just hope that, you know, Super 7 is able to put out Wave 4 a lot sooner than 6 months from now. I mean, come on, hurry up. I want to see what you got next. So, thanks for watching. Have a good one, and talk to you later.